Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled A Tribute to a Gentle Giant, Colin Abrams. I was very privileged to know Colin for the last 13 years since he made Aliyah to Ramat Beit Shemesh, and he became a pillar of our community in Ramat Beit Shemesh, a great man, arriving here at the age of 70, with a minimal background from South Africa, and he just grew and grew till his final hours here. They say there's an expression, can't teach an old dog new tricks. And people apply that to mankind. They say as a person gets older, a person's sort of set in his ways, cannot change. And the expression may be true in general, but not by definition. A person can always change, no matter what age one is, 50, 60, 70, 80. It's just, normally it's not easy. A person is set in his ways. For Colin Abrams, he defied that statement, that phrase totally. The man was growing daily, weekly, monthly. In the 13 precious years that he was with us, he showed us that to be alive means to grow, no matter what one's background is. In the area of learning Torah, he went to shiurim, whether the shiurim in the shul, whether the shiurim in his house when he couldn't get out. Such a tremendous love of Torah. He loved all forms of knowledge. He loved God's world. He loved God's creation. He had a special connection to Niflot HaBorei, the wonders of creation regarding the animal kingdom. And he knew so much about it, and all of it was an appreciation of God's world. And even till the last days, when discussions about the animals came up, he knew details. If we were discussing animals, elephants, he could tell you how many nerves, muscles, and the elephant's nose, a tusk, etc., etc. He loved God's world. And then, when he came to Israel, he became more attached to the Torah, to God's creation of the Torah, and that became a passion of his. And yet, Chavrusa learning, finished Megillah, and other Mesechtos as well, with his beloved Chavruta, Rabbi Friedrich, who came down to learn with him every week. Baruch Hashem, they spent many hundreds of hours together learning. And of course, his love of halacha, asking shaylas, what's halacha in this case, what's halacha in that case. And when we had the shul newsletter, he would type up Divrei Torah. And in order for the person reading it to have the source where the text was quoted from, he would go ahead and type it in Hebrew. And you know, someone who's not used to typing in Hebrew, that's an unbelievable challenge. But yet, you would want to make sure to type up the sources in Hebrew so the person could look it up. What a passionate love of Torah and mitzvot and halacha. And it was all in his latter years. In previous years, before Israel, he had a Masorati traditional kind of approach. He didn't learn that much, but he was always open to learning and growing. Then in the area of business, I had the wonderful zechut, opportunity, privilege to be the mashgiach of the Kolmar business, of the meat business, which meant coming in to the kitchen to see that all the products were certified as they claimed, and of course, obviously it always was. The idea that they would sell anything different than they claimed, they were just unheard of, but of course it's always important to have a mashgiach and someone overlooking it, and that was always the case. But in terms of the business, the honesty in the business was amazing. If you were told that you're getting a kilo of meat or boerewors, whatever it may be, that's what you were getting. And that included a kilo of meat, not the wrappings, not the packaging, nothing else. Even though the wrappings and packaging would be a minimal amount. Why not just write a kilo based on the kilo, which is the whole package? No. If we say we're selling a kilo of meat, we're selling a kilo of meat, nothing else. Just incredible honesty. Such a lesson for all the Jewish people, for all of mankind, actually. And then in 13 years, he became a pillar of the community, a leader in the community of the more seniors and the shul and the whole shul as well. whether it was on the board or the head of the more seniors, always planning events for everyone to enjoy, and Torah events, events for the teenage boys to come over, learn about Niflo Tabori, the wonders of God creation together. And whenever he was chairman, he would make sure that we would start off the senior events with the Dvar Torah. I would come down to learn a little bit with everyone. So everyone could have a nice, enjoyable evening, but have Torah at the beginning, and that's how they'd start off the evening. And the community loved him. He was such an asset to the community. As we have seen from over the years, everyone was so close to him, especially the last few months when he needed other people's support. Everyone was there for him. He became so beloved to everyone. And what a beautiful compliment to the whole community, how supportive they've always been to Colin and Margaret and welcomed them. And it was a beautiful symbiotic relationship between Colin and Margaret and the whole community. And then we look at Colin's relationship with Margaret, his angel. Very, very, very special and beautiful and loving. Levi, we should all be so fortunate to have such a relationship. Mutual love, respect, and connection. Always talking with such dignity, one to another, one treating each other with such dignity, and talking with such love and admiration, and getting along, whether it was working together on the business or just life, going through life together. And another amazing meat that we see about Colin, it was hard work, the meat. Kilos and kilos of meat, boxes of meat, to pick them up wasn't easy, and then to go ahead and use the heavy syringe in order to put the gravy into the meat. It was hard work, and it was not easy. A person could complain, late 70s, 80s, and this is how we have to get by. The answer is yeah, this is the way it is. This is our financial lot. This is how it is. This is that we have to help pay the bills. That's fine. Thank God I have the strength to do it, and that's it. And move along and accept all of God's gifts and challenges. So this was Colin, 13 years of amazing growth in the learning area, in the halachic area, relation with the community, his business, his ethics, accepting hard work in his life, and his beautiful relation with Margaret. But to top all of this off, I think we need to go to a board, an insight into the parsha that we've been reading. He keeps stressing in Truma Tetzava Vayaka Pekudei, as the Mishkan was built, it has a very interesting term, Chachmat Lev. It talks about someone who's a Chacham, wise, Lev, heart, wise of the heart. What does that mean? Rationality is in the mind. It's the feelings. Some commentaries say there's two kinds of knowledge. There's abstract knowledge that someone can have. But that knowledge, he could quote books on ethics and philosophy and insights, but has no meaning. It's not internalized at all in the heart. He's not emotionally attached to that knowledge. Sometimes you can have a tenured professor in a college. You can have a great physicist. You can have Stephen Hawking, who could be a genius. Does that mean that these people are going to be ethical people, good people, solid citizens? Maybe yes, maybe not. It's possible that that knowledge is assimilated into their being, and it's also possible that it's not. That person could be a genius and a world leader in physics, astronomy, and he could be a Russia. He could be a jerk. He could treat his family in a horrible way because there's a disconnect between the chachma, the wisdom, and the leif, the heart. Colin had a perfect synthesis. He was a thought-out person. He was a deep person. He had a great mind, but it was all internalized. It was him. And the proof of it was, of course, in the 13 years where you see his love of Torah and halacha and mitzvah, his connection to Margaret, his business ethics, connection to the whole community. But where it really hits home, the synthesis of the mind and the heart, is in the last few months, where you saw his love of Torah was so deep inside him. Every time I came over, I tried to come over a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at the night, whenever I was able to. And he always with a beautiful smile. Rabbi, what are we learning? What did you share on today? Ah, and how much did he enjoy those few precious minutes of Torah. Last week when he was sleeping and he was ready in his bed when I came to visit, and he was pretty much out of it, but enough to talk a little bit here and there. And then he said, Rabbi, what are we learning? Sometimes I don't want to just initiate because I didn't know if he was up to it. What are we learning? Doesn't matter that it's 11 at night and he's in bed. It looks like he's sleeping and out of it. And then we start learning together. And you see the big smile. And he's listening. And he's involved. How does that happen? A person is just about the end of his life. How does he wake up for that? The answer's simple. If it was just some cerebral connection to Torah, so very nice, beautiful that you learn, even if you're not emotionally attached, it's still a mitzvah. But when it's internalized and it's you, so then that's going to get you excited. Now, when you have no strength in life left, it's still going to get you excited. Because it was truly him. It was Chachmas slave. And that's what we see about his connection to Torah. And he asked me a few weeks ago when he knew it was close to the end. The doctor already said it's not years, it's months or weeks. Okay, Rabbi, what's this halacha? What's that halacha? He's connected not just to theoretical learning, but to halachic learning, even in this moment in his life. Connected because he has a true connection. His soul is connected to Torah and to halacha in a deep, deep way. It's not time to complain and to whine. Why this? And how come I only have a few weeks left, few months? He's connected. And then we see his midot, which of course for 13 years we saw, but it comes out clear in the last few weeks, where his wish was to live and die at home. That was his wish. He didn't want to be surrounded with all the machines. And that whole tumult of the hospital, as amazing as hospitals are, it's not where he wanted to be. He wanted to be at home, but already a week ago he saw it was so hard. He had no strength left, which means Margaret and Pamela and Ingrid and whoever's there and all the great friends moving him up and moving him down and moving him to the bathroom and moving him to the room. So he said, it's too much for you guys. Maybe just put me in a hospice, let me die there. He had a simple dream to live and die at home. But when he sees that it's affecting others and it's so hard on others, he said, nah, I'm going to take my dream and burden others? Can't. And that's what he said. Of course, everyone said, no, it's our pleasure to help you. And what a beautiful testimony to the family, to the incredible kids. And of course, the beautiful family and the children. Pamela and Ingrid and Lawrence. It's all of them. Baruch Hashem, Mamish. A testimony to the giant that Colin was. So they all just wanted to help out. And it was their honor to help out and be with Colin. So, okay, he said, fine, we'll stay at home. But you see, if the midot are superficial, his kindness is superficial, then in a moment of weakness at the end of his life, he's not going to be thinking about others. It's really hard. No, I'm going to live at home and die at home, and everyone has to just serve me. This is Magieli, this is coming to me. No. How can he be so sensitive to others even in his last moments? Once again, Chachmat Leiv. Chachmat Leiv. It was internalized. It was real. It was him. And therefore, he was going to be considerate to everyone else. And then, of course, another aspect, another revelation of the Chachmat Leiv, relationship with Margaret, where, of course, it was a beautiful relation for many years before they came, but, of course, we got to see the 13 years they were together. What a special relationship. But when things get tough, sometimes tension comes out. Sometimes you see anger, frustration from one to another. Sometimes the caretaker could just say it's too much already and get frustrated and angry and annoyed. And sometimes when who's ill, it can also be a little upset as well. You didn't move me that way. You didn't put the bandage on this way, that way. None of that. None of that. All we saw between the two of them is angel, 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 angel. How can I help you? What can I do? And it was so real, the relationship, through and through, down to the very core of each of them. So why should anything come out in the last few days when things are so hard? It's love straight through. They're just layers and layers of love. So you're not going to have that anger and the tension come out because it just didn't exist on any layer. And then we saw, as he was slipping away, and he could barely speak, we still say thank you. Try to say thank you and appreciate what everyone was doing for him, even as he was leaving us. So in sum, what do we see? What do we see? We see a man who went ahead and just did a 180-degree turn, took his whole nature and just directed it towards spirituality, towards growth, towards chesed. In his 13 years, from 70 to 83, and in every area, in the midot area, characteristic traits, in the learning, commitment to halacha, commitment to business ethics, commitment to his wife, commitment to his community. And we saw that it was so deep. It was a true expression of Chachmat Lev. It was totally internalized. Where even when we could have seen things come out differently in the last few days and weeks where there was just no guard, the guards were down. It was just him, his essence coming out. All we saw was just beauty. And therefore, we should go ahead and take this sad moment, tough time for a whole community. He became a pillar of the community. So it's very sad, very depressing. He's so sorely missed. On the other hand, we have to go ahead and see the beauty of this man, of this giant, this gentle giant who taught us so much. How a person could grow and grow and grow till his final day, till his final hour, and till his final breath. May his memory be for a blessing. May the family find comfort in Klal Yisrael. Amen.